Today we're going to look at chicken Rogan Josh, but we're also going to look to see how we can develop this recipe to meet the needs of others. The ingredients we're going to use today are, we're going to use some chicken and that will provide us with some protein. We're also going to use a pepper here, and the pepper will provide us with vitamin A and vitamin C. Our garlic will give us vitamin C and vitamin B. This is ginger, root ginger, and that's going to give us a tiny amount of protein. However, this provides us with all the essential amino acids, so it's really good to have in our recipe. We're going to use some oil, which will provide us with fat. We're going to use tomatoes, which is going to give us vitamin A and vitamin C. We've also got tomato puree here. We're going to use a lot of spices here. They're going to provide us the flavour, and we're going to look to see how to blend spices today to create that flavour. And then we are also going to use natural yogurt at the end, very end, and that will provide us with some calcium. The first step is to peel and dice our onion. To dice the onion correctly, we hold the onion as if the world is in our hands. We're going to use our bridge grip and we're going to use our sharp knife on top of a green chopping board, and we're going to slice straight down through the middle. We're then going to lay it flat onto the board. We're then going to cut off the north pole, so that is where the shoots are, and we're going to use our claw grip to cut off the north pole. And we're going to do that twice. Next, it's time to peel. And because we've cut off that north pole, it allows us to get our fingers in to pull off the outer layer and to get rid of this skin, or what we normally call it is physical contamination. So we get rid of that straight onto a paper towel, making sure our chopping board is clean. Next, we need to dice it. So as the root is still in place, we are going to use our bridge grip and we are going to use our knife, and we're going to cut down about 2/3 of the onion. So we're going to cut down along the lines, about 2/3 all the way to our onion. And then we're going to give it a quarter turn, and we're going to use our claw grip, and then we are just going to slice across it, and that will produce nice sliced onion. And so when you get to the end and it's a little bit short, you can also turn it over and cut it. So all we're left with is the root. And then if you can see there, that's nice finely diced onion. So we're going to do that again. So we've got the root on still. We're going to use our bridge grip. We're going to cut down about 2/3 of the way down the line. And remember, if we do it about 2/3 of the way down, what that does is that actually holds it together for us, so it won't fall apart. Then we're going to give it a quarter turn, and we are going to slice across it, and that will create our nice diced onion. We're going to pop that into the pan and then prepare the garlic and the ginger. To prepare the garlic, firstly, we cut off each end of the garlic, and then we just put a little score in the skin, and this will help us take the skin off. We just peel it onto the paper towel, straight onto the paper towel, putting all our physical contamination onto a paper towel, which will allow us to put that straight into the bin. Next, we're going to use the garlic crusher. I'm going to open the garlic crusher up, and we're going to pop in the garlic, and we're going to squeeze it, and that's going to scrape out. We just scrape out our garlic now. Remember, we can always use this inside, and we can just slice it, because there's nothing wrong with that bit of garlic. And there's our garlic ready to go into the pan. The next stage is to prepare the ginger. Now the ginger's got a very hard skin on it, so we're just going to keep it nice and flat, and we're just going to turn it around and cut off the outer skin. As you cut it, you'll smell a lovely aroma of ginger. Ginger is really good for us. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to grate this ginger, ready to be used. Watch your fingers. We're just going to grate the ginger. So this is another skill that you can demonstrate. And as you grate it, you can smell the essence, the ginger lovely aroma. And that's going to go into our curry, along with our spices. And there is our ginger. Grated and ready to use. To prepare the pepper, we only need half of it, so we're going to use our bridge grip and cut down through the centre of the pepper. So we only need half. To get the seeds out, all we need to do is put our thumb in and pull it, and the seeds will come out. Now, we want these to be nice slices, so I'm going to use my claw grip, and I'm just going to hold onto the pepper, and I'm going to do nice, evenly sliced pieces. And remember, this is going to add us colour and texture to our dish, and that is our pepper sliced using the claw grip. Now it's time to dice the chicken. You will notice that we've put it onto a red chopping board. That indicates danger because it's a raw meat, and then this will need to be put straight beside the sink after we've used it. We're also using a different sharp knife. It's really important that we don't then use these utensils for anything else, because that could cause cross-contamination. So we're going to dice this. So again, we're just going to use the sharp knife, and we are going to try and create evenly sized cubes. Remember, we don't want to cut them too small because we want to give them a bit of texture in our curry. So I'm using the claw grip, as you can see. And there are our evenly sized diced pieces. Remember, as soon as you're finished using these pieces of equipment, they must go behind the sink and you must wash your hands. The next stage is to turn on the cooker. We're going to use the hob today. So we're going to turn it on at the wall, and then we are going to look. So we have positioned our pan here on the bottom right of the hob, and now we are going to have a little look here, and we're going to look for the bottom right, and we're going to turn the hob onto about number 3 or 4. Technique we're going to use now is we are going to saute the garlic and the onions. Remember, pan handle safety. The pan handle should be over the bench, and we should be using a wooden spoon. So we're going to add a little bit of oil in here, and then we are going to saute these ingredients. So saute means to gently fry, and we're going to saute these ingredients until they are soft and they are opaque. So you should almost be translucent. They should be nearly see-through before we add in anything else. As the onions are sauteing, we're going to now create our spice blend. So what we're going to do is we are going to use a teaspoon, which is also a 5mm spoon, and we're going to use a teaspoon, so that's a level teaspoon, so that's 5 mils, and we are going to use 5 millilitres of curry powder. So we're going to sprinkle our curry powder into the bowl. That's our curry powder. We're using a medium today. We're then going to use some paprika. So we've got paprika there, and again we're going to use another 5mm into here. Then we're going to use ground cinnamon and another 5mm. And then lastly, we're going to use some chilli powder to give it a bit of a kick, but we're just going to use a pinch of that. So this is a pinch. So use a pinch of chilli powder, and then we're just going to give it a mix, and that is our spice blend ready for our curry. What's important to remember at this stage is that the onions do not burn. So we shouldn't be getting them golden brown, we shouldn't be burning them. So the amount of oil we've got in the pan should prevent that from happening. We should have it on a medium heat, so we are just gently frying. We're not trying to, race, we're not trying to burn them. We're just trying to make them softer. And we're now going to add in the ginger and the red pepper. And we're going to cook this for a further 2 to 3 minutes. At this point you can start to smell the ginger and the onions, a lovely aroma. And we're waiting for the peppers just to soften slightly, but we really do want them to still have a crunch. The next stage is to add our blend of spices. So we're going to put the blend of spices into the pan, and then we are going to stir them and we're going to cook them for 1 to 2 minutes. Now it's really important when you're doing this stage that you are stirring all the time. So what we're looking for is our spices to infuse their flavour onto the onions and onto the peppers. And we are just going to cook those through for 1 to 2 minutes. But as I've said, stirring all the time because you don't want these to burn. Now remember, we're using a non-stick pan and we're using a wooden spoon today. So it's important the wooden spoon is used, because if it was a metal spoon, it would take this non-stick off the pan, but it would also conduct heat and it would burn our hands. Whereas a wooden spoon doesn't conduct heat. So we're going to cook that for 1 to 2 minutes before adding in the chicken. After 1 to 2 minutes, it's now time to add in the chicken. And we're going to coat that in the spice mixture. Remember, as soon as we're finished with the chopping board, it needs to go straight behind the sink. Next, we're going to coat our chicken in all the spices. And we are going to cook that over a medium heat for about 5 minutes until the chicken turns white. So it's important, you can see there's some of the chicken turning white. We need to make sure it's all turned white. So we're going to seal all these flavours into the chicken. Now, if we want to make this a vegetarian curry, for example, we wouldn't need to add the chicken in here. We could add in other vegetables. We could add in mushrooms. We could add in more peppers. We could add in lots of other vegetables, or you could add in a protein alternative such as corn or TVP. We could add in here. So it's a really basic dish that is really easy to alter to meet the needs of other clients. So we're going to cook this for approximately 5 minutes until all the chicken is white. After approximately 5 minutes, you can see now that the chicken has turned white in colour. So that's all edges, so that means that the chicken is sealed. It's not fully cooked at this point, but the edges are sealed and all the flavour will start to be absorbed. So it's important that we then still need to simmer this. So the next stage is we're going to add in our tomatoes. We're going to add in our tomato puree, and that's just to intensify the flavour. So we're going to put a 15ml spoon, so that's a tablespoon, in. And then we're going to also add in about 50 ml of water. And then we're going to give that a nice big stir to incorporate all the flavours. We're then going to bring this to the boil. Now remember, boiling is large angry bubbles. So we're going to have to turn the heat up for this initially. We're going to turn the heat up to number 6. And then once it gets to a nice angry bubble, we're going to reduce it to a simmer, which are gentle bubbles. And we're going to simmer it for about 20 minutes. And that will ensure that the chicken is thoroughly cooked. As you can see, the steam is starting to rise from the pan, which indicates it's getting hot. You can start to see large angry bubbles appearing. which indicates that is reaching boiling point. So therefore we now need to reduce that to a simmer. So we're going to turn it down to about 2 or 3, and we're now going to simmer that for 20 minutes until we know that the chicken has thoroughly cooked and that has absorbed all the flavours. Now this recipe uses the reduction method, so at the minute what you can see is a lot of liquid in there. So the steam indicates it's getting hot, it's very hot, so this will reduce and it will thicken because the liquid will evaporate, and we know this is the reduction method, which in turn will intensify the flavour of the curry. What?
I'll get the equipment.
Oh, thank you. After approximately 20 minutes, we now know that our chicken will be thoroughly cooked inside. You can always take a piece out and check if you want to. And if you wanted to make this into a creamy curry, this is when the stage you would add in your yogurt to make it creamy, and then you would heat that gently for a further 1 to 2 minutes. To serve our Rogan Josh, you can serve it with rice, or you could serve it with pasta if you wanted to. But we are going to just place it into the bowl. We always use a metal spoon to plate, we never use the wooden spoon. And we're just going to pop it into the bowl, making sure we have a nice presentation. And that's our chicken Rogan Josh. But remember, it is a very versatile dish, so you can easily replace the chicken with suitable ingredients for a vegetarian or other client needs.